Hello YouTube, Two Teeth back, and as the title suggests, wherever it may be, Blackpool, belated Blackpool Blag. There we go, the 3 B's. Yeah, I do apologise, I have been quite poorly. Some people might think, I'm not surprised about you, Jake. It wasn't that actually. I would have loved it to have been that, because by the Monday, you know, hangover, what you look about a day or so, ain't you? But no, it didn't. It carried on. It carried on going. It carried on going until I got back here. People may have seen a couple of vids. I think Rich did a vid, Rich King Retro, and you could hear my voice. It's fucking shot. It always goes anyway, but it didn't get any better. I went downhill, and that's probably more to do with Daz Cojones de Loro's fucking virus. So he is the new carrier. So thanks very much, Daz. And yes, this is the last weekend of beer. I am then officially back on the wagon. So there you have it. So you've got one more drinking, 2 eating, that's it. And we're done. Drying out. Oh shit. So Blackpool, there's been tons of videos, tons and tons, some absolutely corkers, and I know everyone does the whole thing. I'm not going to try and name people, yada yada yada, etc. Equally, I'm not going to do that. If I've got a story to tell, or someone of note, more so probably people that I'd met for the first time, we'll have a quick chat about them. But I mean, on the whole, the way I'd sum it up is, as a social event, it was probably up there, just below the first time we all went to Manchester, because the first time is always your best time, okay? But this one, just in terms of sheer numbers, the people, the laugh, the crack, I'm all about the laugh and the crack. Yeah, it was a great blast. What let it down, and it's been mentioned before, and I can see what some people are saying, it shouldn't really matter, but I think it does to some people, because it gives it that edge, was a trade hall. I think I counted 6 people, 6 stalls selling retro video games. That's not an event, is it? 6 stalls, man. And one of them is the guy who's always overpriced. Everyone's mentioned him. I can't remember what they're called, because I didn't buy anything from them, because they literally are over, and you can't haggle. There's no deals, fuck all. I don't think there is anyway. But it wouldn't be a deal, because no matter what money you got off, you still would be paying what you would pay off one of the other stores for it, you know, as normal. So that was a bit of a letdown, I must admit. I was hoping for, and I mentioned it before, the smaller indie stores, you know, they only have one table, but they have the sort of niche items and all that kind of stuff, and they're the place where you get great little deals, they look after you, that kind of stuff. None of them. I know that Monkey Spaz, Jimbo, and I know that Chris Novabugs mentioned this, and to be honest, it doesn't really bother me too much, but I like to see it. There's no 8-bit stuff, there's no 16-bit computer stuff, 6-bit micro. Real shame, no Attic Bug. People like that just weren't there. And, you know, for me, personally, it's not a big thing, but it makes the event, because you look at it, you go, oh, I remember that game, or I remember, you know, and it just adds to the vibe. What you did have was people selling fucking, and again it's been mentioned, swords, daggers, you know, Funko Pops. Again, all these stores are nice additions to what should have been a bigger trader hall, but instead they were the majority. They should have been in the minority. They should have been nice little, you know, side stalls that just add to it, but it weren't. They were dominating, and I think Rich mentioned it as well. People selling PC stuff, you know, Xbox Ones and PS4s games. That's, I don't know. But having said all of that, you know, for me it was all about meeting people and having a laugh. And but I can see the other side of it 100%, because it's nice to come away with something tangible. You can say, I've got this at Blackpool, and there's a story behind it, there's a bit of nostalgia tied to it, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And for some people that wasn't there, because you know, there's certain individuals that are very selective in what they want, and it's nice to go to these events because you can see these items, and you know, sometimes these aren't cheap games, and it's nice to go to these places to see the item, to check it over, yeah, and pick it up. Again, you know, Console Passion, although they are quite one of the sort of more expensive, they always have the quality. That was again probably lacking a little bit for some of the guys there. I don't know what happened. I honestly don't know, guys. I've messaged one of the chaps there that was very kind enough to give me the ticket, Andy Brown, from Replay Events. I've heard nothing back yet, and you know, he's probably a busy man. But I did sort of say to him, this is the general consensus across the board. What's gone on? What's the reason? And as yet, no answer. I did sort of, you know, speaking to a few of the chaps, as Rich mentioned again, you know, the more you go to these events, you kind of just get to know people a little bit. Not saying I'm Mr. In there or anything like that. But one of the stores I spoke to, they kind of intimated, they didn't want to divulge too much. They sort of said, look, you know, the rent, you know, we think the rent went up. Well, they kind of said the rent went up, but they didn't say the rent went up, if that makes sense. And the justification for that was, oh, it's a 3-day event, you'll make your money back. And they quite rightly said, well, you won't, because you make your money on the Saturday, a little bit, if it's a 2-day event, a little bit on the Sunday, but your bulk is on the Saturday. But you're still paying for the 3 days, you see. And then I spoke to another sort of store holder who I do know quite well. Well, you know, I have a good rapport with him. And he basically said to me, yeah, it's I think he said it nigh on doubled. I think it's £400 to stand, and they're asking 800. So you can see that's a lot of specky games Attic Bug have got to sell. You've got your accommodation, your food, your drink, your travel. Before you even fucking sold, you know, a single game, you're like, what, £1.5 if you need a couple of people to open your store. It's going to kill it. It's going to kill it off. And that's a real shame if that happens. I know this is meant to be a happy video, but I think from what the videos I've seen, not a lot of people have touched on this. They've obviously sort of said, you know, especially these sort of older hats have sort of said this is, you know, this is disappointed. They didn't really give any reason behind it. I didn't feel. So I thought, instead of treading over the same old ground that they've done, I'll just sort of put a different perspective on it and maybe put a bit of reasoning behind it. Because there's going to be a lot of people out there who will say, oh, I told you, that's why I didn't go. I knew it was going to be like that. You're full of shit. You know, fuck all. You didn't know what it's going to be like at all. None of us did. And that's the God's honest truth. I think, again, some of us have been a few times, I felt bad. I know a few other people felt bad for the people that we sold it to. You know, we sold this event for fucking nigh on a year. But for the people that have been for the first time, for the first event, they wouldn't know any different. You know, you don't miss what you never had. And they thought it was the dog's bollocks, the bee's knees. And there's the rain. And I can see why I would, you know, like I say, from a social side, absolutely, hands down, the best laugh I've had. Bar none. The previous Manchester one was very good because it had a mixture of, you know, some very nice stuff to look at and peruse and buy and whatever, and it also had the social side. Blackpool for me this year was more sort of tilted towards the social. That's not to say I didn't buy anything, because I did. So what can I say about Blackpool that hasn't already been said? Old Grubster. Yeah, fucking, we thought Grubster might turn up. You lazy Canadian bastard. But no, I say I'm not going to tread over it all. You know, there's some cracking stories that I'm glad Rich King Retro told his Toilet Gate. If you don't know about Toilet Gate, go over to Rich King Retro's channel and listen to Toilet Gate. Rich, as soon as he started laughing at that, I texted him, said, mate, I'm crying here, because I knew what's coming. That's funny. Toilet Gate's going to go down in history, in YouTube folklore history. Toilet Gate at Blackpool. Of all the places, of all the gin joints, you had to walk. I'm going to put a video up here somewhere of Casablanca. And if someone's really clever, they want to superimpose Rob and Richard's face. That'd be fucking brilliant. Or do a sort of parody of Toilets Thursday, Steve's gas heads, and have Rich sitting on the bog and Rob walking in, because that's just quality. But yeah, go and check that story out, it's brilliant. What else went on? What else do we have going on? People that I met that probably haven't really been mentioned too much, and I'll do my best here. And who else did this? I think Novabug did this way. As I talk, if I remember someone, I'll chuck them in. So one who's never hasn't been mentioned yet is Meaty Mime. Meaty Mime. It's James. His name's James. I do apologise. I just know him as Meaty Mime. Bumped into him. I think I scared him a little bit. He was there with his missus. I think that was on a Sunday. So I bumped into, I'm sure it's James. Oh, see, I should know this. But yeah, I bumped into him with his missus. So he was like, oh, a bit scared. Because I just did, I just pounced on him. He'd bought a few bits, and he's got a missus who's into gaming. I said to him, right, I'll fucking marry her. Keeper, she's a keeper. So it was nice to see him. Matthew Martley, who's all of a sudden changed his appearance. He's been scalped. Who else did I meet for the first time? Addy Sneaker Freak, Steve. He's an interesting character. It is weird, the stuff that people collect though, isn't it? He collects trainers. Who else did I meet? Obviously, other than Rob, I'm talking about like the sort of fringe people that I just sort of see on the peripheral, if you like. Oh, I met Doctor Who. He looked pretty good. That was on a Sunday. Sent that to the missus to show the daughter because she likes Doctor Who. He was pretty cool actually. He's a cool guy. I can't think of any of the ones that had. I think Matthew had been mentioned before, but I know that Meaty Mine hadn't. But yeah, so notable people in terms of who I'd never met before. Aidan Watkins, Game of Taff. Really nice to meet him. I sort of checked into the hotel, and he was like, I could sort of see him looking behind me, but after the woman was checking me in, so I didn't want to be rude and interrupt her, and he come over and I was like, all right, mate. And yeah, we had a bit of a man hug there, and he sort of said, oh, everyone's in the bar. And I sort of, yeah, get myself sorted out. Like, so it was nice to meet him. Obviously the man mountain, fucking Game of Thrones, Rob, Champion 2D Rob. Jeez Louise, fucking hooder, eh? He's a big lad. He is a big lad. He's a big unit. He's our Rob. But honestly, I must admit, one of the highlights of my of Blackpool for me was meeting Rob and just having the crack with him. And I know he's I'm a wind-up merchant. It's just having the crack, and I think at the start, well, I could be wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm pretty sure he didn't know how to take me a little bit, but I think he got into the groove a little, you know, it's somewhat. But yeah, I can see how he can intimidate a few people quite easily. I just crush your head with my hand. So there's Champion 2D Rob, Aidan Watkins, Pete Armour, top lad. Very reserved, as you know, he's very eloquently spoken as he is in his videos, but top lad. Honestly, really one of the nicest. From a sort of personality perspective, he's just cruises, you know. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. Who else did I meet for? I should have done a list. A few people come to me, but I can't remember. So that's kind of like a very mishmashy. This is going to be very mishmashy because again, it's pushing for a week today. We would have been there now. Would have been in Blackpool now, a week today. So rewinding a little bit in terms of the trip and all that kind of stuff, I need to thank a huge, massive gargantuan thank you to Tim. Bad fuck up, because without Tim, you know, well, I would have gone, but it would have cost me a lot more money. And Tim's really looked after me that weekend. Obviously, towards the tail end of it, the Sunday and the Monday, like I said, I worked very well, and I kind of felt a bit bad, like I might have ruined it for him. But Tim being Tim, who's got hinges on his ankles, is that laid back, and I'm pretty sure all you guys that spoke and met Tim would probably agree with me. He's the easiest guy to get along with, bar none. You don't feel like you need to talk all the time. He can make conversation. He can sit and listen. One of the nicest guys on YouTube that I've met, honestly. Generosity to a fault. And yeah, this game is playing. I'll mention that in the pickups. But yeah, Tim. Honestly, if you don't know Tim, go and check him out. He does great videos. I mean, in terms of the stuff he picks up, it's all quality. And again, Tim was one of these kind of guys that was going there for specific items, a bit like Daz Cojones Doro, knew what he wanted. Tim was a little bit disappointed, and I can understand it, because I think everyone just expected a little bit more, and when it's not there, it's that deflation. It's that, you know, you just feel underwhelmed. I think, yeah, being underwhelmed. So all the gang was there. So turned up in the hotel. We had Raz, we had Shocks, who's always laugh, love Shocks. Pete was in the hotel, Aidan was in the hotel, Jumper Studio Rob was in the hotel, and my main man Rich King Retro, who I don't think I could even, when he doesn't go to an event, he didn't go to Manchester I think one time, or was it Blackpool? Was he missing from one of the Blackpools? And I missed him. Because we just have such a fucking laugh. He takes the piss, I take the piss. We give as good as we get. He liked the wobbly green hill zone. I bet you don't remember the wobbly green hill zone, do you, Rich? Cheeky bastard. But yeah, it's, you know, I can, trust me, people said worse things about me, and I don't, it's all a laugh. As long as you can, you know, as long as you give as good as you take. Yeah, Fricks Rosie. We had a Scottish contingent. Mark and Ian McGrath, that's in the scene. I remember it. First I met Ian, what a nice guy. I think he was a little bit like, I don't know really what's going on here. I got the impression, but I'm pretty sure he enjoyed himself. Mark being Mark is, again, a bit like Tim. Very comfortable in their own skin. Just cruises along. Having the laugh, having the crack. What it's hard to put it into words, and I think the guys that went the first time, for the first time, like Pete, like Rob, you're best off going to ask them, and they'll probably be able to give you a more accurate interpretation of what it is. But it's hard to quantify, because it's just such a great time. It's like just meeting up with all your best mates from school, you know, and just having a laugh. I don't think anyone fell out, which is good. I might have upset quite a lot of people, but, you know, fuck off. If I did, I do apologise, but I don't know. I hope I didn't. I probably bought more drinks than I was bought, but again, I don't know. I just take it as part of it. I don't, you know, sort of sit and think how much does it cost me, because for me that's my weekend for the year, and I make the most of it, you know, and I go for what I go for. People go for something else. Some people go to buy stuff, people go to meet people, some people go to play the games. Everything's, you know, you go for what suits you. You go for you know, your reasoning. If you go for anything else other than that, then you go for the wrong reasons. But talking about playing games, I played more games than I've ever played. I was in the arcades, tons, and even the lads will probably tell you at the bar, I was a shadow. I was a shadow at the bar. I'd drop in, I'd have a pint, which weirdly enough I kept decanting it. Decant the bottles of bud into wobbly pint glasses. Pissed me off a little bit. but I didn't decamp at the bar. Had a couple, went away. Had a Street Fighter fight with Scratchmaster Dow, and to be fair, he was playing Dalsum anyway. And then Ian McGrath come along, and by that time, you see, I'd used all my special moves up here. That's what it was. So we had a close one, and Ian edged it. Ian's a very defensive Street Fighter player. There you go. If you ever play Ian McGrath Street Fighter, he's defensive. He's not. He doesn't go on the offensive. Me and Jay played Space Harrier, and Jay had a very unique tactic to play Space Harrier. I've never seen that before, Jay. I don't mention that to you either, so you have to watch this video. But yeah, good little tactic that is. I'll tell you one game I really did enjoy, and someone mentioned this in their video. Shit, who was it? Was it Pete? I think you guys that do the high score challenge, and I think it was John. One MSX to go. He put this game forward, Time Pilot. I fucking love that in the arcades. I got to level 5, I think. Is it level 5? Or was it level 4? Where you play where it's the jets in the future, because it literally goes through time. And that's a great little game. That is. I'm gonna need to find see if that's on the Famicom or something. What a great little game. What else I played? IK Plus. Or International Karate rather. What else have I blast on? Drift Out. That's a great game. Met Tim's mate, Chris Moore. I don't think Chris makes videos. That was an interesting conversation with Chris. So I know that Tim had spoke about Chris previously, and I think I'd seen Chris with Tim at Manchester a few years back. Again, I've known Tim for a while now, and well, obviously on the way up, Tim was sort of saying, yeah, Chris has got like quite a substantial Mega Drive collection. And sort of said, why don't you make videos? And obviously Chris had, I think he turned up on the Saturday. But yeah, he was buying some nice Mega Drive titles. So Chris, if you're watching, get making videos, mate. It'd be nice to see that collection. But yeah, we played anyway. We played Super Hang-On, which is a really good game. What else did I play in the arcades? The Nintendo Player's Choice, which I think everyone agreed kept doing weird glitchy stuff. That's the arcades, I suppose. Could never seem to get the Turtles for some reason. Hunchback, played Hunchback. It's a great little game. Pac-Man, but I could never get on. I'll tell you what, there was some bastard there, right, who fucking hogged that Pac-Man machine all weekend, and he even had the fucking gumption to put his video camera and set it up and point it at the screen. Couldn't even get fucking looking on that. Wanker. I'm gonna miss the game off. Honestly, guys, I've played shit tons of arcade. I didn't really go to the consoles. There ain't a great deal there that I haven't got, or that I wouldn't really fancy playing. Didn't even look at the PS4 stuff, just on principle. What else did we have? We see Jeff Minter. He was there. Me and Tim was. There's a funny thing. On the Sunday night when I wasn't well at all, I think Tim treated me to a sort of bag of chips, and I don't even think I even ate half of them. And I sort of, we walked back up just to try and get a bit of fresh air, and Jeff was walking past, which I didn't know this time, but Tim mentioned it was his partner, and I just said, "Evening, Jeff," and Tim may say in the comments, but yeah, he was kind of like a bit like, whoa. I think he thought I might have been asking for his autograph, but I was just being polite, even, I wasn't pissed, I wasn't very well, but I don't know, I've got a lot of respect for the guy, a lot of respect for Tim. Shook one of the Oliver twins' hands. They're nice lads, nice blokes. I'm just trying to think of different things that haven't been mentioned in some of the videos that I've seen, that's all. Retro Unlim guys, they had their show set up. Show? Not like a fucking gang show, was it? Sideshow Retro Unlim. No, they had their talk. which I think little Pete Dickinson come over. Do you know what I said? Oh, I said, look, I just remember them being in one of the side rooms. Someone said to me, I think it might have been Harry Yak. I think it's they worked hard that weekend. To be fair, them lads. And he sort of said, "Oh, we'll set up in the side room." And I didn't know where it was. So, off the back of that, I must thank Steve, Mr. Retro Riddling. He looked after me. So it's quite interesting again in terms of the queuing up. I had like a press pass ticket. And sort of speaking to, because I speak to Steve all the time, like best mates, you know. But we chat, and I just sort of say to him about the sort of tickets, because I was guessing he's going to have to. So, look, you know, what's a crack? Never had one before. What do I need to do? You know, and he sort of said to me, look, on the Friday when we all met, and I do have some footage of that on the Friday. I'll put that in at some point. He just said, look, just come and meet me at this place at this time, which I did. There's a few of us there, and obviously, you know, he's got his all his setup, all the cameras and shit. They have the microphones, and I mean, I was just expecting just to sort of be escorted along with them and show my ticket, but he went one further than that, and he gave me a free band. So, Steve, mate, you know, I know I thanked you at the time, and I'll thank you again, and I'll keep thanking you. But honestly, absolute legend. All of the Retro Limb guys, got lots to Steve for looking after me with a ticket. Absolutely awesome. And I'm trying to think what else. Off the back of that, the queuing. So I have this. It must be because I am quarter German. It must be something in me that I just don't like to queue. I don't like to wait and stuff. And so I was obviously there with the Retro Limb guys. Sort of we go through the other angle. I think a few people mentioned there's been 2 queues and whatnot. And obviously, you know, we're walking up, and the little mini Hitler guy walks out. I think a few people mentioned him. It took about 10 hours to put these 2 sort of ballardy sort of banister things together. And and who comes through the other door? It's Retro Dave, and he was like, ooh, because he obviously thought that I would be at the back of the queue. Yeah, right. And he went, you ain't got your band, have you, too? He went, Dave. I walked in. So yeah, I think it's an ongoing joke a little bit. But fuck that, I ain't queuing up, man. Bollocks to that. But to be honest, I don't think the queues took that long to get down. It's not like playing Manchester, you're there for an hour and a half, which is one of the bugbears I've got for that show. It's just ridiculous, because you do have basically four lots of events all converging. But yeah, getting in there, again, I've told you this video's all going to be all over the fucking shop. Getting in there, you know, everyone scats to the wind like they always do. Fucking YouTubers flying everywhere, left, right and centre. And everyone runs into the traders hall and go, is that it? Yeah, that's it. Because there was stores in the main game room, so where you have all the arcades and all the consoles. There were previous years there'd be like little stores all the way along the edges, all the way along the peripheral, you know, and it's quite nice. You could just walk up. Again, there's people selling old new stock of 8-bit stuff and all kinds of weird and wonderful, you know, Spectrum add-ons and Amiga add-ons. I think no Amiga Forever. They were there before. I remember seeing them. Just little things like that. I think it just didn't have that enough of that retro vibe to it. But yeah, so everyone's like going fucking to the wind, and I always take some stuff for the Retro Collect guys. So Tom Lacey, nice to meet Tom again. Stink with me fucking t-shirt, you useless bastard. Me and him are gonna have a falling out. But yeah, I'll come to the pickups there. There's a little bit of story about Retro Collect and me. Not Retro Collect's fault, but my own fault, kind of thing. Tom, I hope you got back okay. Because I do remember you telling me you missed your coach, didn't you? You naughty boy. Had you had too many drinks? Is that what it was? I'm pretty sure on the Sunday. He was supposed to get his coach at 10 o'clock and he'd missed it. I'm sure it was a Sunday. It was a Sunday. So yeah, I hope you got back okay, pal. What else is going on? Who else does I see? Who else does I chat to? I'm going to miss people off. If I do, I know everyone sort of says this, I do apologise. What I'm talking about is just these. I'm trying to bring people in that haven't been mentioned before. I don't think there's many more that I would have spoke to. Funnily enough, there was someone. That was meaty mime. When I sort of said to him, I said, "Oh, how long you been in here?" He said, "Oh, this is on the. I think I seen him on the Sunday. He seen him on the Saturday." He goes, "I didn't want to come and say hello to you." So I don't know that this year there was this little fella. Great to meet him and his dad. I'd seen his dad at Leeds, and I forgot to mention him. I still don't know what his name is. He'll put a link. He'll put a comment. But yeah, it's really good to meet Max. Maximilian, top little lad. He was off playing bloody some arcade game, his dad said, and then that's when he come running over. So Maximilian, awesome pal. But yeah, there's no other real sort of random people, unfortunately. I think that's about it. I'm going to miss someone off. Dan Central. I've never met Dan before. Daniel San. He's only little. I thought he'd be bigger than that. He's a nice lad though. Dan's again a very pleasant guy. Very easy to talk to. What else is there? There's someone else. You know who you are. The faceless, the man, the legend, the myth, the unknown, none other than Big Dunk. What an absolute fucking pleasure. He is a gentleman scholar, honestly. I think Vaz mentioned this in his video. We all had these like profiles, and I'm sure everyone does this anyway. You kind of envisage what someone looks like, and we weren't too far. I thought Dunk would be a bit more of a, you know, Ian, like Herbie S, stocky, you know, like old ex sort of farmer or old farmer type guy. And funnily enough, he works on a farm. But yeah, an absolute legend. And I said to him, right, GameCube's done. Right, we need to find you a new focus. We need to get you refocused. We need to get the collection. More importantly, we need to get you talking. Just talk behind the camera. And when he did his video, I was so disappointed, Dunk. I thought we might have had you talking. But as a lot of people have said, Duncan, his generosity is unbounded. Really looked after people, and just a pleasure to talk to. An absolute pleasure to talk to. Managed to buy him a drink, which he had to twist his bloody arm. He had a Guinness. A really nice guy. That bloody Norbrecht Castle must have took a right beating on the Friday and the Saturday. I think it was Friday and Saturday only. I think they're there Sunday. But I think it's some sort of Scottish kids football tournament. I know a lot of people talked about it. Fucking hell, balls bouncing everywhere. Fucking everything's getting kicked to crap. Jeez, no wonder the place is fucking falling to pieces. What were the little nichey, undisclosed, untalked about events, scenarios? Can my whittled down brain cells try and think of? I can't think. I was really disappointed. My wingman Minx, he had to go home. He went home on Saturday. That was a bit of a wound there. Gruss Newton, Paul on the back wheel, Matt Soulfunk Retro. Nice guys, really nice. I say, you know, ask anyone that never been to one before. It was just absolutely awesome. I say I've got some Friday night footage. I will put it in, maybe at the end of this. But it was a blast. It was an absolute blast. Some of the stories will be tied up to the pickup, so I don't want to go into too much of it. But a Saturday night, met with, well, on the Saturday day, my mate Keith the Host. That's what to say. Rich King Retro, fuck, his video had me in bits. Woolly Weeble, we called him Wobbly Willy. It's fucking dying. And he was calling the host, he's calling him the host. The Host. That's a horror film, isn't it, The Host? Because the wife likes horrors. I'm sure The Host is a horror film. So Keith, you're a psycho, you're a serial killer, you're the host. And then he was going to say, he's calling the Hoot. Fucking, honestly, if you've never been out or never met Rich and, you know, spent any time with him, it's a laugh a minute. It really is a laugh at. That's all I can take away from Blackpool, and I hope that a lot of you guys that went for the first time take that away with you, because that's not hammed up. That's just how we are, and it has me in bits. You know, I'll have a laugh with anybody. You know, I can talk to most people. I'm not fussed that way, but Rich just kills me. He kills me and then resurrects me and then kills me again. Wobbly Willy, the Host, the Hoot. But anyway, met Keith. So Keith is the Keith the Host, really good friend of mine. And he popped down on the Saturday, he stayed over on the Sunday. We like a footy, me and Keith. So we went to the Genting Club, which is a casino, by the way. And it's not in town, Dave. Everyone went into town to the casino. No, the Genting Club is literally about 2 minutes from our hotel, which is about 15 minutes from Norbreck. It's not in town at all. And it's not a strip club, it's not anything like it. It's a casino, a very posh casino, that just happens to have the football on. And Keith's a Scouser, so he's a tight shit. And I'm a tight shit, so I must have been to Scouser in the previous life. And that's where we got our free buffet from the year before. So me and Keith being me and Keith. And everyone had gone this time. Everyone had gone to the Beefeater. And me and Keith went, well, we know we can get a free bit of scran. So we went to the Genting Club. We watched the football. We watched Man United lose, which was always a pleasure. Sorry, Welsh Steve. And we were like, Keith was like that, just went, straight away he went, I can't see any buffet. I can't see any buffet. I was like, well, it don't matter. They have bread on tap. And so we had a couple of beers, and Keith was like, I'm going to go and ask. Well, no, he didn't say that. Tell a lie. He went off. When he come back, he went, I had to go and ask, Stu. He goes, I had to go and ask. He goes, apparently they had it on the day before, I think. Was that right, Keith? Well, they had it on earlier in the afternoon, something like that anyway, and he was gutted. Said, don't worry, look, I'll buy you a sweaty kebab on the way home. I don't know what happened to that idea. It didn't transpire that way. But Rich popped down, Rich King Retro, he popped down. Because we were one of the last kind of in the Norbreck, because what happened is we all sort of decanted into what was commonly known as the sort of chlorinified sauna, which is the bar. I know that Chris Novenbug mentioned that. Was it? Yeah, with the eczema. That had me in bits as well. It's true. And that's where the Oliver twins were talking about Dizzy. So a lot of us were sort of start there, just again, you know, I think it was Richard mentioned this, and it is, in terms of Manchester, everyone bangs on about that, but you get kicked out into a car park in Norbreck, you can go and sit in a bar. At the outside the event, you can go and sit in a bar, in a sort of pub atmosphere if you like, and you can sit around tables, and you know, a bit of air around you, because it is quite dark in there, and it's quite noisy, and you know, there's a lot of air, there's not a lot of air coming in, so as old folk do get a bit, you know, fucking hell, my head's banging in, to get a bit of fresh air. And it's nice then. So weirdly enough, all the soul fuckers end up being outside here, outside in the sauna bar, supping having a few beers and having a chin wag, which was nice. And let's say everyone went off to beef eater, or I don't know what it was, little thief or whatever you call it. And I sort of said to Keith, "We're going to watch the football." And Richard, "I'll pop down later." And he, true to his word, he popped down. And we asked the guy about the boxing later. And he said, "Well, look, if you get in before 12, if you come down before 12 and you get in, you just have to have your photograph taken and stuff. After 12, you have to bring your ID, some form of ID." So we got all that sorted out. Watched the footy. Back up to the hotel. Shit, shower and a shave. Down into the bar. Did my political speech. And for those that were there, here's a short reminder.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
And for them that wasn't, don't worry, you didn't miss a great deal. But it was, as I think again, Rich touched on this. It's good to get the, that's the way it is. Not everyone can get on with everybody from a political aspect, but we're all mates, and it's good to have different views, and it's good to air them. Don't know if I did upset anybody. I apologise. But it was back up to the Norbreck. Met the rest of the gang. It was a little bit more, I wouldn't say subdued, that's the wrong word. There's a bit less of us, but equally a great laugh. And this is where it gets a little bit hazy. Because I think just before 12, about 11:30, I believe, and I'm pretty sure it's Mark Hornsborough and Ian. Someone had the foresight to sort of corral, I think, about 3 taxis together, and we all sort of shot down to the Genting Club to watch the boxing, and that was interesting. So I can remember up to a certain point, and I'm not going to lie to you, at a certain point I can remember, and after that it all goes a bit fuzzy. But yeah, there's a good fucking lot of us in there. And again, I don't know if anyone spoke about this, I don't know, but we all sat in this like horseshoe, because what happened was, because it was so packed, they actually allowed us to spill over into the restaurant area, because there was just too many people, and it was really, really busy. I remember speaking to Steve Gasshead and Monkey Spaz. I said, "Look, better get yourself down here, lads. It's a nice place. It is a really nice place. If you want to have a meal, or if you want to go and gamble, it's up to you." I think we walked around it where we'll, just split the time up a little bit, because I know that Raz was very conscious that he didn't want to sort of have a busman's holiday. But Raz, mate, you don't have to go even in the casino, to be honest, pal. You can just go to the bar bit where we were sort of sat in the restaurant. But yeah, I had to walk round. I ain't got a clue about betting. I ain't got a fucking Scooby. A few of the lads had a flutter, I think. But yeah, it was really busy, and they allowed us to spill over into the sort of restaurant area, and we sat in like a horseshoe type, they call them bunkers, I don't know. All leather, obviously, because it's very posh. Big horseshoe. I can't remember. There must have been about 12 of us. If there weren't 12, then I don't know how many were. There must have been. I can't remember who come up with it. Someone come up with a really good little sort of drink. I don't know, it wasn't even a drinking game. It was just a game. Someone named a system, and then you got to name 2 games, 2 classic games, or 2 quality games, or 2 unheard of games off of that system, and we just went round. And after that, I remember very little. I remember Jay falling asleep, and then going home basically, and waking up with Jay next to me in bed, which was quite a nice feeling actually. I did sort of say to him, "Why is your elbow digging in my back?" He said, "Oh, my arms are behind me." So I always sleep with my arms behind my back, so I don't know what it was. So Jay got a free breakfast, Talking about breakfast, actually, hopping back here. On the Saturday morning, because obviously Rich was in our hotel, we're all downstairs, and he comes downstairs, like, and he's mentioned this, like, he's like, oh, and he lined up, fucking about 10 orange juices and just went like Jaeger bombed them. That's quite funny. But yeah, it was just such a good time. If you've never been to one, I would implore you, find a way. A few notable omissions, I must admit. Pat, not Pat, no, I'm not doing it again. And the old username. They asked me about you, funny enough, because the woman seemed to think that I knew everybody. That was the other thing. Sandra. So Rob, who was at our place, he was like, "How the fucking hell do you know her name?" So I asked her. And he went, "That's your car boot tactic." And I goes, "Look, I can't reveal the secrets." But yeah, Sandra sort of said to me like, "Oh, do you know a Patrick Sparks?" I said, "Yeah, he ain't coming." She was like, "Ah, okay." And I think Rich mentioned this. There was a bit of a mix up with the hotels. Ian Herbie Ass obviously didn't turn up, so I don't know how you guys worked it, but there was obviously some sort of confusion somewhere. But yeah, it was just such a good time. It was a shame that, like I say, Patrick and Ian couldn't attend. I just hope the people that did go for the first time could sort of reinforce what a good time it was, if that makes sense. Because, you know, Blackpool 2015, I don't think's got a very good rep, man. For the wrong reasons, I think. For the wrong reasons. From a sort of social meet-up gathering, having a laugh. For me, it was one of the, if not the best event I've been to. From the sort of physical event itself, a little bit lacking, a little bit underwhelming, I have to admit. That's only because I know different. Them that don't worry about it. Honestly, guys, you know, you enjoyed yourself. That is, like I said before, you make it what it is yourself. You know, if you're gonna sort of stand at the sidelines and expect people to come and talk to you, interact with you, do all that kind of stuff, and then piss and moan about it afterwards, you're in the wrong game. That is not going to happen. You've got to put yourself in there, put yourself in the mix, get involved. Again, people like Pete and that will tell you we're not horrible. We'll make you feel welcome. We'll get you, big dunk, woolly weeble. No one even knew what he looked like. There must have been someone else that I've met for the first time that I haven't mentioned. It may come back to me with the pickups, but it may not. It is nearly a week ago now, and I am getting old. I'm sure there'll be someone else. Has to be. Anyway, to sum it all up, for me, in a nutshell, Blackpool 2015 was the social event, bar none, as an event in its entirety. Somewhat lacking. I'm hoping they're going to do better. They can't do any work. Well, they probably could, but I hope they don't. And I would implore anybody who's sort of sat on the fence, don't listen to me. Go and speak to the guys that have been for the first time, like Champion 2D Rob, like I think Aidan Watkins, Gamer Taff, like Pete Armour. I'm not sure if Meady's been before. Meady Mum, I think his name's Jamie. I can't remember. I do apologise. I will remedy that if I can, and I'll put his name there. But go speak to them guys. Don't listen to me. I'm full of shit. I'm biased. You know, I'm a loudmouth knobhead. Listen to them guys. They'll give you a more probably honest, non-biased opinion than I would. But I love it, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. Take it easy, YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.